Well, hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Once again, it's the Father's Authority with Nate Holloway. You guys know what to do. We're going to take 1 minute, 60 seconds. I want everybody to
60 seconds.
share this video on your timeline so everybody can see it. I'm about to do it myself with you guys. So we are going to do that because we're going to have a good time tonight. Let me get there for mine. And I'm going to share it to the page. No. All right, I've done it. Hope you guys have too. Guys, it is another Father's Authority tonight. We have a special guest. My friend and brother, Pastor James Simpson, is here tonight with me, and we're going to talk all things fatherhood tonight. So let's go. James, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing amazing on purpose, Nate. Amazing on purpose. I want to thank you for an opportunity, and I'm humbled that you would, give me this opportunity to share with you.
Thanks, man. I've been following you for a little bit. Since you guys, we want to congratulate James. So if you guys out there, I want you to put a congratulations in the comment section because we want to congratulate James because he just got married. Got
Absolutely.
married
Thank you
to
so
my
much.
friend.
Thank you.
Got married to my friend Ginger, and they're doing some big things, guys. Look, they got married, got the honeymoon, and went into a new building, launched a church the next
God is
week.
good. God is good, man. God is good. Amen. Yeah,
That's
God is
good,
good.
man. So James, we talked a little earlier, but I want you like tell everybody else the Father's Authority is here to start a conversation on fatherhood. And this is for everybody
Okay.
who's if this is your first time, we're trying to start a conversation on fatherhood and change the narrative on fatherlessness. So with that being said, James, tell us a little bit about you and your story with or without your father or father figure in your life. We've talked a little bit. So tell us your story
Right.
growing up.
Okay, yeah. Before I do that, real quick, first of all, I want to thank you again, Nate, for I've been following what you've been doing. I've seen some of your guests. I know some of the guests you've had in the past, and so I just want to commend you for being a voice for this movement. It definitely needs to be heard, and I just want to commend you and applaud you for the work you're doing.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
so
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
you so welcome. So my story is, I give you the condensed version, but my story is pretty much as a young kid, right beyond my infant stages, I never knew who my biological father was at the time. I never knew who he was. I didn't know who my biological father was until I was about maybe 13, 14 years old, maybe 12 years old. And so however, there was a man who came into my life, and he was the only father I knew growing up. My name is
Okay.
James. His name happened to be James. And
Oh
of
wow.
course, he adopted me. I never forget he adopted me. And my mom would correct me on this, but I mean, I had to be 3, 4, 5 years old when he came into my life. He married my mom. And so growing up until about age 12, he was the only father I knew. I didn't know anything about a stepfather. I knew nothing about a biological father. In my mind, my name is James, but James Simpson is or was my father. I knew nothing
Okay.
about having a stepfather and how babies are made or nothing like that. So I was just, it was eye opening. It was shocking when I found out at 12 years old, at 13 years old, that this man was not my father. I mean, that
Wow.
was that was that was a whole, and we'll get into that maybe, but that was a whole process that I had to try to figure out because, you know, a lot of times the children, especially the young guys in the house, the young boys, we get our identity from our fathers or from the man
Right.
that's raising us. This man showed me how to get dressed, put on clothes, brush my teeth. I remember playing. He showed me he lined his shoes up to teach me the hoes, how to run through the hoes, the even numbers and odd numbers. I mean, he taught me everything. So we have the same mannerisms. People say we walk the same. People say we talk the same. same. So I had no clue that this man was not my father. Had no clue. And so
Wow.
it was about I think I was signing up, Nate, for like maybe football or something, and they had to pull out a birth certificate or something around 12, 13 years old. They had to pull out some kind of birth certificate or something like that. And at that time I'm 12, I'm in the 6th grade, maybe, whatever, and seventh grade, and I find this birth certificate, and my birth certificate does not say James Simpson. This
Oh
particular
wow.
one, I had two of them, but this particular one said James Collins. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not who my father is. And so I asked my mom, and my mom began to tell me the story, how he had split when she was pregnant, and some other things, abusive or whatever. So now here I am growing up. I'm thinking that my identity had came from this man, which
Mm,
it did. However, now I'm wrestling with the fact that this man who I've been calling dad this entire time is really not my dad.
wow.
So th- that's like, so now I get mad, and not it's not a mad like I'm mad at my mom or mad at him. It's a confused mad, if you know what I mean.
I
I'm
got you.
confused at 12 years old. I'm like a confused man because now you're trying to I have to deprogram myself that this guy is not my biological or not my real father. And so then I begin to lash out. I lash out at him. I lash out at my mom. I start misbehaving. But now I want to know, show me who this guy is, because I've been mimicking, I've been copying, I've been imitating this guy who raised me since I was an infant. And now you want to tell me this other guy who is my father is somewhere in Nashville, Tennessee. So, fast forward, my mom, my mom was in agreement, but she just was waiting for the perfect time to tell me. And guess who
Gotcha.
happened, during that time? So, man, I get on a plane, I go to Tennessee. At 13 years old, I go to Tennessee, and I meet my grandmother. My grandmother sent for me. I had been talking to her on the phone. She introduced herself to me. All my aunts were there, my uncles were there, and my biological father was at the airport. Now, he didn't send for me. Let's be clear. My grandmother sent for me, his mother.
Mhm.
So I meet everybody, man, a loving family. I have nothing at all bad to say about them. They are my family. I love them. But the whole fatherhood dynamic, that dynamic just, it kind of froze me for a moment, because now at 13, I had already learned a man to be my father. Now
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out this other dude, you know. And in my mind, I don't look like him. We don't talk alike. We got nothing in common, because I didn't know him,
Right.
And so, man, Nate, it was a major, major, major adjustment,
I
and
bet.
in my thinking, in my mind. So I don't know who to be mad at now. Am I mad at my mom? Am I mad at my stepfather? Am I mad at my biological father? Okay, where you been at? You know, now I'm starting to understand the whole adoption process, Nate, because I remember living in New Jersey, Fort Dix, New Jersey, when mom and dad was in the military. My stepdad was in the military, and it's even hard for me to refer to James Simpson as my stepdad, because he's my, in my mind, he's still, to this day, at 45 years
Right.
old, he's my dad. So, but I remember the lady came to the house. This is back in this, in the early 80s, how they were doing things then. He adopted me right in the kitchen. But I found out that my biological father never contested it. Papers were sent to him. Your son's about to
Whoa.
be up,
Wow.
about to be adopted by another man. Do you want to fight? Do you want to take it to court? Do you want to appeal? Do you want to do anything? He never responded. So now I know this information at 13 years old when I go see him. So I'm mad at my mom because I did know. I'm mad at my James Simpson, my dad, because I did. He never said nothing. I'm mad at everybody. I'm kind of confused. I'm there for the whole summer, and I ended up going 2 summers back to back. But I love my aunts. I love my grandmother. They embraced me. They treated me no different. But at the same time, here I am, 12, 13, going on 14. I really have no identity now. I thought I had an identity because, again,
Mhm.
consciously or subconsciously, the young man in that house gets his, he's like, when he looks at his father, it's like looking at a mirror. And
Right.
and so this man raised me, he taught me how to cook, how to clean. He disciplined me when I was wrong. So now you want to tell me this other man is my father. So even when I came back from the summertime in Tennessee, Nate, now I don't even know if I want this guy who has been saying he's my father, my stepfather, to say nothing to me no more. I don't even
Mm.
know if I want you to tell me what to do. I don't even know if I want you to, because now my dad in Tennessee, he's saying little stuff like this. Well, I'm your daddy. Your
Mm-hmm.
last name ain't Simpson. Your last name ain't Simpson, right? Your last name is Blase blah. So I'm like, oh, well, where do I stand in all of this? So I'm gonna let you ask me something else because I'll keep going because, but remind me, don't let me get off because I want to tie what I just told you because I'm 45 now, but years ago, man, God showed me a tremendous revelation, and I love what you call this, the fatherhood authority. Well, I found out from scripture, Nate, because I'm a pastor and I'm very studious, but I found out from scripture that there's something that I call, or that I've learned to call, the fatherhood ministry. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, it is the responsibility of the biological father to father his own children.
Right.
However, if he fails to do so, Nate, if that biological father fails to do so, Psalms 10 and 14, He says, I will be a father to the fatherless.
Mm-hmm.
So God, to someone whose biological father may not be in their life, God is obligated to make sure you still get fathered. But I'm gonna let you
Right.
answer some questions and we'll get back into that.
No, but it's
Yeah,
good you said though,
yeah.
because when you bring up that about God to make sure you get fathered, I did a study at one time when I had to speak for Father's Day,
Uh-huh.
and what I learned in the study is that if your biological father is not there, God will make sure there's someone there to father you. Just like you, He
Yes,
made
sir.
sure that your stepfather was there to
Yes,
father you.
sir.
We kind of have almost the same path because I never knew my biological father. Um,
Right.
but at 13, my godfather told my mom at my grandfather's funeral, he said, I made a promise to your grandfather that when he died, if he died first, I would take care of you. So he took
Oh
me
wow.
to my mom, I got him. And he raised me, he helped my mom raise me. He taught me, he gave me my identity. He taught me, like you,
Right.
how to dress, how to uh, wear cologne, this thing. My wife laughs and messes with me to this day because of him, I have to wear cologne. I have to get my hair cut every week. My socks
That's
have
what
to
it is.
match something in my shirt,
Right. Right.
because he told me that he told me about business and those things, and I learned that. But God, for every period of my life, I had a father, I had a mentor who was a father
Right.
figure. Even to this day now, I have mentors that
Absolutely.
for every area of my life, and God would do that. And it's amazing how you said that your stepfather set your identity. You knew nothing but him because
Yep.
he was there to to teach you and to train you and to make you the man that you are. So
Yeah.
let's go to my first question. What does fatherhood mean to you? You kind of summed it up,
Right.
but I still got to ask my question because you can say I'm just messing with you. But what does fatherhood mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, of course, what I've learned that what fatherhood means to me. I mean, here's one of the things that I've adopted as a phrase for my life is that the power to define is the power to fulfill, and,
Mm.
and so
Hmm.
you can never fulfill what you've never defined. So I'm glad you asked that question because I've had to learn and understand that fatherhood is kind of what I was saying earlier. Really, what fatherhood, Nate, it's a ministry that is supposed to reflect the same way God fathered mankind.
That's right.
So
Yep.
we're supposed to look at fatherhood from a perspective of how has God fathered us? How has God fathered mankind? And we're
Hmm.
supposed to model that image. So that's what fatherhood means to me. And what it also means to me, Nate, I've learned that fatherhood is a ministry. So kind of like we just been saying, again, we're not letting any biological father off the hook. We're not making any excuses.
Right.
However, if the biological father misses it,
Mm-hmm.
is absent, runs off on the family, or whatever the case may be, then God is obligated based on his word, because God's word can't return void. He's obligated to raise up a surrogate other. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what he did in your life with your godfather. That's what he did in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, I didn't understand this.
Right.
But when I look back, see in my life, God was faithful to his word. Now, of course, as a young child, even at 45, man, do I look back and say, man, I wish my biological father had done some of these things? Yes, but I'm not going to allow a man to hold my life hostage. God made sure, Nate, I got fathered because
Uh-huh.
it's a ministry. So he made sure that James, he made sure that we got fathered. Now, it may not have come through our biological father for whatever reason, death, sickness, or just abandonment. It may not have come that way, but God made sure we got fathered. So to me, fatherhood is a ministry. Back to your question, to me, it's a ministry, Nate, that exemplifies 7 things. I won't teach them, but I'll just give them to you for the listeners. To me, fatherhood is a ministry that's supposed to reflect how God fathers mankind. So fatherhood, number 1, is a ministry of protection. A father
Uh-huh.
is supposed to protect their child. Number 2, it's a ministry of provision. A father should be providing for their children. And you can see all of
Uh-huh.
these things in how God fathered mankind. God protects us. God provides for us. Number 3, fatherhood is a ministry of perspective. It's from my father I get perspective. How I
Mm-hmm.
learn how to see things, how I learn how to view things. Number 4, fatherhood is a ministry of prophesying. It's, it's nothing, and your son probably knows this, and you know this as a father. It's one thing for mama to say it, but it's a whole nother thing for daddy to say it. For daddy to say you're handsome
Right.
today, or for daddy to say you can do it, or for dad to say, get up, we going to church. Mom got to holler 4 or 5 times. Get up, get up. Daddy say it one time. Everybody jump up. So it's a ministry of prophesying. Number 5, it's a ministry of participation.
Mm-hmm.
Because you, as a child, you want your father to participate in the football games, in the basketball games, to go to the take you out to eat. It's also a ministry, number 6, of perception. And then lastly, it's a ministry of a pattern. And that's what your godfather did for you with the haircuts, with the cologne. My father did it for me. Same thing, a pattern to follow. So that neighborhood it can things can look at how God has fathered us, and that's what I'm after now. I'm after trying to father kids, father the children in my life. I'm after to father them the same way God has fathered mankind.
Doc, you better preach, Doc. Doc, you're a little blurry,
Am I
but we don't want you. Don't mess with it because I don't want to disconnect.
okay?
I don't want to
Okay.
lose you. If this is good, guys, I apologize. We have a little
Yeah,
technical
I don't know
stuff,
what.
but
Yeah,
it's good. So if you can just listen, and if you can see him, he clears up from time to time. But we're gonna keep going with this because I don't want to lose it, man. That is so good, man. I like that. It sounds like all P's, the 7 P's of fatherhood.
yeah.
Uh,
That's why it was kind of easy to remember. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but that's good. And it's amazing you say that, man, because those are the key things. I can see all of those in my life with my son. And I know other men
Exactly.
who are here can hear in their life with that son, especially when you said the prophesying. And one of the things that I talk about is starting the conversation and the authority of a father's words to their child,
Yeah,
because your words go into the child's future. Your words follow them throughout their lives, because we can think about things and think about, like, I never met my biological father, but one thing I remember that I was told that he said, last thing he said was, I wasn't his. I remember those words. Then later in
wow,
my life, as I got
wow,
older, and I got into college,
wow.
I had met his aunt, his sisters, and one of my aunts gave me his MySpace information when MySpace was out, things like that. So I reached out to him, and while she reached out to him, he said he wasn't ready. But then I found him on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
because I found him on YouTube and I found his Facebook stuff. So I reached out to him on Facebook, and his last words to me was, "Leave him alone."
Oh wow, man.
So why don't I just
Oh
stop?
man.
So those words were in me,
Yeah.
but and this was before my son was born, and I had to learn. I had to get God had to show me. I had to learn that I had to release it and forgive him, or it would have
Yeah.
affected my son. Those
Yeah.
words I would have taken those, and I wouldn't have spoken into Caleb's life like I do.
Right.
And I look at Caleb every morning when I speak into his life, tell him he's great. He looks at me, he waits for it, and then he come home from school, says, "Son, how was your day at school today?" "I was great." He tells me he was
Right.
great. So my words, and so that's one of the things I want fathers to see, that it's
Right.
important what you say, how you speak to your children. Because if you speak to them, you're
Absolutely.
fussing all the time. That's when they act out. They're gonna give you that back to you. If you're yelling all the
Right.
time, they're gonna give that back to you. But if you speak to them, if you speak to them in comfort, if you speak to them in wisdom, if you speak to them and talk to them, like before I spanked Caleb, I talked to him. This is why Daddy has to do this, or this is why Daddy did this, because this you did is wrong. You can't do that. That's
Right.
disrespectful. That's bad.
Right.
Son, you're greater than that. You're great. Because you look, like you said, you look handsome there. And you said something key. It's different when it comes from the father.
Yeah.
When it
Absolutely.
comes
And
from
that's why
dad,
there's yeah. And that's why there's always been an attack. I mean, even in Bible days, but there's always an attack on that household to get that man to either quit,
yep,
leave, get out that household, because Nate, fathers, men are the foundation. See, when God created man, he got us, the male, he got us from the ground. But when he
yep,
created the female, so men are the foundation, but when he created the female, he pulled the female from the foundation from the man. So the
mm-hmm,
foundation of every home is the male. So if the male can come under attack in their home, lack of understanding, ignorance, or just abandonment, once the male comes on that whole, it spins totally.
yep. And that's why I want, you said something about abandonment too. I want to talk on that, because it's like a foundation, that with a foundation, like a house. You can't have a strong
Yeah.
house without a strong foundation. So if the foundation
Right.
of the house crack and it starts to fall apart, then the whole house
Yeah.
falls down. Same with the family. But you said something about abandonment. I was doing a study one time, and I was listening to Miles Monroe, and he said
Mm-hmm.
abandonment it creates a culture
Mm-hmm.
with the men. So what it means that when you abandon your child, you create a culture that he starts over with his child. Nine
Right.
times if God doesn't send somebody in there to change that, then if if I had to let it happen to me, then I would have abandoned my child, my
Right.
son, and
Right.
then he would abandon his son, abandon his son. But
Mm-hmm.
what God did with me, He did with you, was He allowed us to have men in our lives that changed that culture, that change.
Yeah.
So we're creating children that are changing the culture of fathers that are gonna be there. Like, I
Right.
know Kingston. You're gonna create a culture for Kingston of fathers that's gonna be there. You're gonna show him how to be a man. You're gonna show him what it is to treat a woman. And I see that watching you guys on Facebook. I see how you are with him. I see how you interact with him. I see how you teach him and those things, and that's gonna go into his life. That's gonna follow him into the future. Man, this is good. We can talk about this all night.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so let me ask you, what's the best part of being a father?
Oh man, just in my estimate, children are heartbeats walking around. There are hearts. Like, so when you look at your child, sons or daughters, and I have both. Um, you know, um, I have four children. I have twin girls. I have a son, and I have a older daughter. But then I'm married now, so now G and I combined, we got seven combined now. We got more than the number of completion. We done seven. So
Brady Bunch
but the
plus
best,
one.
yeah, plus one. But the best part about it is just seeing them do. I mean, just seeing my heart, because the children are our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing our hearts walk around, just the whole journey of just being a father, to be able to have the privilege to be able to call somebody calling you dad or calling you their father.
Hmm.
And it's a joy. It's a joy to have children. And then I just want to say this, because I'm always, my ministry is all about being transparent. Like, and I didn't always, even after all I went through, Nate, even after all I went through, what I just told you, and I gave you the short version, I still didn't always get this fatherhood thing right myself.
Oh no, we
You
don't. We're not
think,
gonna get it right.
right? Because you would think after going through all that, but I have a 21-year-old daughter. I have a son who will be 19 on March the 23rd, and with them, you know, um, when I had them early in my early 20s, and man, I was still trying to run the streets with them. I was still in the club. You know how when it's your weekend, because I wasn't married to their mother, but when it's your weekend to give them, I got a great mom who's their grandmother. My weekend with them was sent to my mom's house. So it came a time, even in their life, as a father's authority, I had to pull them both to the side and say, hey, I apologize that you all are not, because I have twin girls from my previous marriage. I have twin girls, and my older two saw me father my twin girls different from
Mm,
how I fathered them. So they're looking at like, where was this dude at when we were that age?
right.
So I had to apologize to them and tell them, hey, I missed it, I blew it. But so I got joy even in doing that. And but just in being a father, man, I love it. I love to be able to look at and see man, me's walking around, people that I helped bring to this earth. And even with Kennedy, Kingston, and Marcus, they're not my biological children, but I'm married to their mother now, so I see them no different. I see them all through one lens.
Right.
Through one lens, that okay, yes, I want them to honor their biological father, love their biological father, and I'm just gonna be a bonus. I'm gonna be an addition to what they already have.
That's good.
I'm not here to replace their father, be a substitute. I just want to be a bonus to what they already have. So it's a joy, man. It is, and and so even now, like I said, I just like to be. My ministry is just transparent, man. Even now, because I know, and maybe even though I've transitioned to marriage. This is my second marriage, but I've transitioned into marriage, and so now, Nate, I'm working on this file over again because you know, hopefully you have with divorce, and people who are watching, you never have to deal with divorce. But you know, kids knew was my twins knew was me in the house for 12 years. But my ex-wife, we got divorced, and so now there's been some bitterness. So I'm having to use discernment, use wisdom to try to use balance to blend the family. And it's been challenging, Nate. Even as a man of God, as a pastor, it's been challenging, you know, because everybody's not on the same team. Everybody's not saying the same thing. Unfortunately, challenge, man. But I'm even enjoying this part of it because I know hard times don't last always. So I'm enjoying this part of it. I just love being a father. You ask me how many kids I got now, it rolls off my tongue. 7. I got 7 kids. You know, and if you don't know better, you say I thought you had 4. No, I got 7 because I see all of them the same now. You
Yeah, and
know.
that's how it should be, man. You should see all of them saying because you're still a father to them and you're
Yes.
still
Yes.
speaking to their lives. You're still there, and like you say, there are heartbeats, and whether they're yours or not, you're a mentor to them,
Right.
and you're
Right.
that father. So, how important are a father's words to his child?
Oh man, so important because in the home, that's probably the first male voice that the daughter or the son's going to hear. And once you have a revelation on words, we grew up, not all of us, but a lot of us grew up like just using words carelessly.
Mm-hmm.
They may break my bone, but word me, which is not true. Words are powerful, man. So to be that first male voice, in a little life is so profound. I'm 45 years old, and my father, and I'm talking about the man who raised me, my father calls me every birthday. He never misses a birthday. He never misses a Christmas. And at 45 years old, he probably, if he's watching this, it just does something to me, man. This guy can call me Happy New Year. That voice, he was the he was the first male voice I heard. He was the first male voice of he was the first male voice of confidence. He was the first
Good.
male voice of approval for my life. And so even at 45, when he says, "Hey son, I just called to say happy birthday to you, man," it just does something to me. So I can imagine what it does for my kids, So a father's voice, words are so important. I mean, just so important. And but it also can be harmful. That's why we got to be careful and kind to our children. But the father's voice is so important, so important.
Yeah, and because words, like I say that saying years ago, sticks and stones they break my bones. The words will never
Yeah.
hurt me, man. That was I think look back at some of the stuff we said, man. It was like
Oh
how
my God.
stupid
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
because they didn't know that death and life is in the power of the tongue, And I read
Right.
that
Right.
scripture, and the second verse said his life must be filled with the
Right.
consequences of
With the
his
fruit
word.
thereof. Yeah.
So what you
Yeah.
say is like a seed, and it has to come
Yeah.
to pass. So when you say to
Yeah.
your children, when you tell them they're stupid, they're not going to be anything. So I
Right.
was told when I was coming up that I won't be anything, that I was
Right.
slow.
Right.
These weren't like my mom, but these like people, and it's for the people as kids when you hear that, because my mom, she, boyfriends and things that were there, they would say,
Right.
you're not gonna be nothing, you're not nothing without me. And for a good part of my life, I grew up thinking I was less than, everybody else. It was till I got to
Right.
college, and then I started kind of getting my confidence, and then when I got older and started getting more mentors in my life, then my confidence grew and it kept growing and kept growing. And then,
Exactly.
when I got married my wife, grew, and then when I had my son, it had to really grow because I had to make
Right.
sure that he knew how great he is and his greatness is in him and in those things. But a father's words is important, especially to his sons and especially to his sons, but your daughters too.
Daughters as
What you
well.
say
Yeah.
to them, can determine the type of man they marry and how they
Absolutely.
allow a man to treat them. Yeah.
Yeah, a father in the home is a consistent model. Like I remember years ago, you may notice you like sports. Charles Barkley said this thing. He says, "I'm not a role model," you know,
Uh
but
huh.
a man in the home, you are be one or not, and because mission, you're setting up an environment whether you know it or not. I mean, how you conduct yourself, how you
Right.
talk, your attitudes of affirmation, your words of approval. I mean, it carries so much weight. And if we were really more conscious of that, we would be mindful of what we say because a father even has the impact to have an impact on even a daughter's self-esteem. It's
Hmm.
from the father that she needs to hear that she's beautiful first before anybody, because if not, she gonna end up chasing fulfillment decoys,
Right.
you know and so we need our daughters, sons as well, but our daughters got to hear us say, "You are pretty. You look amazing today. You look pretty today." So therefore, when some guy steps up to the plate and starts complimenting the daughter of yours, it won't be like mind blowing. She don't have to be blown away by it and
Right.
captivated by it and fall for some guy that ain't about nothing. Why? Because she heard her father say that first. So it's
Yep.
almost like, "Thank you. My dad tells me that all the time. Thank you. My dad tells me my hair is pretty all the time." And even for a son, sons, I like to, they watch how we dress and watch how we brush our hair. I don't have any right now, but I used to have some. They watch how we brush our hair and watch how we button up our shirts and how we begin to tie our ties. This is setting them up, for their future, and they don't even know what that is. And so just
Right.
imagine when there is no father in the home, the father's authority. When there's no father in the home, there's tomorrow. I love my single woman. I pray for every single woman and single in this job. They make so many sacrifices, but they cannot replace the male figure in the home. It's
Right.
not do some of these things, but when the father is absent, it causes that young that lady. But it's no different from if I was a single man just raising a daughter and raising a son. I couldn't give her or him what the was supposed to give them as well. So important, so
Yeah. And I even say, and I'm glad you said, I even say to single mothers and single fathers, if you're a single mother, I urge you to pray to God to send a male mentor for your son.
right, right.
Pray that God sends someone, whether it's an uncle, whether it's a coach or somebody for your son. And for single fathers who have daughters, pray for God to send a female mentor in your life that
Yeah,
could be your future wife, or it could be a
yeah.
sister or somebody, or somebody that will impact them out there, a teacher. So let me ask you, James, what advice would you give your children about purpose?
About purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that as a father, as a parent, but as a father, I believe that's one of the things that a father should over a period of time should begin to identify in children, because if we're really in the household, like God ordained us to be, then we should be able to know to identify first certain gifts, certain talents, certain purposes that our children have. And so our kids are like almost like arrows in our hands. So once I identify my child's purpose, it's the father with the mother, but it's the father's job to begin in the right way. So one of the things again is to let my children know we all have a purpose. We don't have to imitate or copy daddy's purpose, but God has made all of us with a purpose.
Yep.
And then once we can start identifying what that purpose is, it's the father's job to begin to nurture that purpose. It's to just nurture it and caress that purpose and push that child into their destiny, whether that be a son or whether that be a daughter. But yeah, purpose is so important because you know there's so many fulfillment decoys, as you know, Nate. There's so many fulfillment decoys out here, and if you're not careful, man, you'll we should all want our children to be better than what we are or what we were. I'm 45 years old, but I didn't hear stuff like stuff you're doing now is phenomenal, Nate. But I didn't hear stuff about purpose at 5, at
Right.
6, at 7. I'm not against my parents, but they didn't have that revelation to share with me at that age. I think it's too young to start off when as soon as a child was able to comprehend and able to talk, that you start having simple, comprehensive conversations about purpose. For it can start off something simple. What do you like to do? What are your aspirations? What do you dream? What do you think you want to be when you grow up?
Hmm.
Even if it's something far fetched, you gotta let them get that out because of course, it's gonna change and things are gonna start going to school. It's gonna change, but man, once you start seeing it in a child, that's when you start pushing them further to setting up structure, setting up things, setting up goals, setting up visions for them to follow.
Yeah, that's good, man. Because like example that when I took Caleb to school this morning, they have a thing in that class where the teacher asked them what they want to be when they grow up, and he had
Mm.
police officers beside his, and I said, "Son, I don't know if I." Then I caught myself. It's like, nope, if that's what you want to be,
Oh, you
you
was
be
almost
great.
getting ready to start
I was
that.
going to say,
Okay.
son, I don't know if I want you to be police, but now I caught myself when I got to. I don't know. Now I was like, you know what, son, if that's what you want to do, then you're gonna be the greatest at it. And I had to catch myself because I never want to stop him from being something that he feels his purpose or that he really wants to do. If he wanted to be a police officer, and me thinking as a police officer is safety. I wasn't thinking about I'm thinking about safety, but I had to catch myself. No, God's got him. So if that's what he wants to
Right.
be, then God's going to protect him. But James, man, I appreciate you tonight, man. That was awesome. Some great nuggets. Um, I apologize. I don't know. We had a little technical difficulties, but man, I want to have you on again. Um,
I'm
and
humbled that you would even consider me for for a platform privilege, man. So you just say when.
I appreciate it, man. We're gonna do that. I appreciate you for coming on tonight, man. And you be blessed. Tell G, go ahead and show everybody your J and G shirt. I know you want
Oh,
to go. Go ahead and
I need to.
stand up.
Yeah.
Sure.
We need to make sure that's in the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Tell G, I say congratulations again, man.
I will do. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. We love you guys. You be blessed, bro.
Likewise, love y'all too.
Okay, love you too. You can go ahead and disconnect. All right, guys. That was Pastor James Simpson. That was some great stuff. Some great nuggets, guys. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but with technology, we know how that is. We're fairly new, but no matter, we had some good nuggets. You could hear him. It was great. We're going to have him on again. Maybe we'll talk about another topic. But I appreciate you guys for coming on tonight. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at kingdomrelationships.org. You can go to our YouTube page at Kingdom Relationships. Check out our other videos. If you have a question, if you have a topic, if you have some dads out there, you got advice, just want to give some nuggets, email us at krelationships@gmail.com and we can talk about it. We can discuss it. And if it's great advice, I'm even going to use it. We appreciate you guys for coming on, for joining us tonight as always. Love you guys. Be victorious.